In a typical supply chain, you might manufacture 10,000 t-shirts. You're going to put it on a boat. When it's on the boat, it's dead inventory. You can't do anything. You can't sell it to your customer. And you got money stuck. And you're paying interest in that money if it's money that you borrowed. It takes about 45, 60 days to get to, let's say, United States. You bring it over the border. You're paying import duties because you brought it in by bulk. Then you're going to go dryage. You're going to move it from the port to your facility. That costs money. Then you're going to inbound it. And your U.S. facility is a U.S. OPEX facility. It is expensive. Or 3PL. And then you're going to ship it to your customer. And let's call it ground USPS, 4 to 7 day shipping. That is typical supply chain, which has been around since the 1980s. Now, what we do is we say, hey, instead of taking the product and putting on a boat and then to your US facility, bring it to us in Shenzhen, bring it to us in Vietnam, bring it to us in Thailand. And what we'll do is we'll bring it from your factory to our facility. Most cases it takes about 2 days to move inventory to us. Then what we do is we have Shopify integrations, right? Within 30 minutes, you're integrated with our app and you send us orders. We'll do the pick and pack. We put a USPS label on it. And then we put them on planes every single night. So we have spaces on cargo planes. And to the US, we have 9 injection points. That means we have planes going every single day to Chicago, New York, LA, Arizona, Florida, and another 4 injection points. And what happens is it lands and then it gets taken right to USPS facility. So we could deliver from Shenzhen to your customer 5.2 days on average in continental US. Your customer has no idea that you don't have 9 distribution hubs in the United States. They get a USPS tracking number within 24 hours of the order. They see within 2 days that it got injected, they got scanned in LA, and they got delivered to the house in San Diego. They're like, oh, they're in LA, or oh, they're in New York. So your consumer, they can make 2 transactions. They can make a transaction with a company that doesn't use this model, and a transaction with a company that does use this model. They'll have delivery within the same day, give or take within 24 hours of each other. The same USPS driver, the same type of box and the same label on it, fully local experience. The brand, What do they get? Better lead times, less inventory need because you're 2 days away from your factory. If you're seeing great sales, you could ramp up production and capture Christmas demand on certain products. No import duties if your value of goods is under $800 value to your customer. So apparel that goes high is 43% of import duty savings. There is no container costs, no dryage. Our warehousing costs are cheaper, our pick and pack is cheaper, and our shipping rates, if you are our ICP, the customers that we like to service, apparel, cosmetics, jewelry, very cheap, starts at $4.88. For a quarter pound to the States, $5.90 for half a pound. So right there, you got better cash flow. You can make a
Does anybody have shipping rates that good out there? Please, anybody? Like anybody within the US?
People have massive contracts. I mean, we're talking to some crazy companies and they got really big contracts. But I would say your average DTC, that's very competitive. I will say it gets bulky. You're not going to like us. If you're selling large items, we're going to charge you $15-20. Then we have customers that use us for cash flow, but we like customers that you're saving your cash flow, we're making you money on margins, and all of a sudden you can sell to 50 countries because we have the same model to UK, to Australia, to Canada, to Germany, to France, all local experiences. We do all the tax calculation and checkout with our partner Zonos, so you don't have to worry about taxes. It's our iOS number, and the customer's local experiences. And to Europe, it's under 5 days delivery, all local experience, starting at $4.44. So less
Canada. What
inventory.
are we looking at? You know, I'm a good Canadian kid here, so need to know about Canada.
I know. As a Canadian, I'm so disappointed to say it's not as good as the other markets. So Canada is like...
I wouldn't expect it to be as good. I mean, Canada Post in general just sucks. So
just sucks. I mean, there's a thesis why it sucks. Canada Post by mandate must be profitable, right? USPS by mandate is not profitable. It actually loses money every year, but it spurs the economy. So USPS...
I did not know that. Is that the same for BDC too? Is that why they suck so much too?
BDC, the government organization that lends money if you harass them? You're talking about the BDC bank?
So for Americans listening to this, we have some really interesting ways of going about things in this socialist society that we live in here. And they're called crown corporations. And crown corporations are they're not so different than, previous Soviet companies, where essentially they're these corps that are kind of owned by the government, but also have to be profitable. Most of them have to be, even in BC, we have BC Ferries, it's Crown Corp. It's never been profitable, but they try. And so instead of it being a public good, right, that we all are kind of paying into, it becomes this weird sort of half company, half government entity, and they're just not good. Like BDC is a great example. That's our Business Development Bank of Canada. I've never gotten a penny from BDC ever. And I have great profitable companies.
100K in 3 days. I'm like, forget about it. You're not getting that money in 100 years. I mean, listen, they do great work, I'm sure. I don't want to bash them too much. But yes, it's a very typical Canadian feeling. And like, it's a shame because like, look at the US e-commerce market. If Canada Post took the same approach, there'd be more commerce in Canada, right? Yeah. There'd be more commerce. I got a bone to pick in that whole area. So
we can ship for cheaper and faster in the States than we can within Canada.
Yeah.
That's insane. And Americans are like, well, we can't do that coming up to Canada. Yes, of course. I think we really actually have an advantage in Canada with the way that our fulfillment can work here. Similar to taking advantage of a service like yours, right? Like it's kind of similar. It's like, it sucks to come into Canada, but it's great to get out.
321. You could get Section 321 out of Canada. You could ship into Canada under $8 import duty free. It works out of Mexico and Canada. It works out of anywhere. It works out of Vietnam. It works out of Thailand. So the only difference in our model, which by the way is people do it all the time out of Canada. But if you manufacture in China, then why would you bring it to Canada then to ship in the States? But
yes.
Oh, so back to the original question. Canada is about 7 days.
Yeah, what are we talking about today, Izzy? No, we got some really good stuff, guys. Like this is like fulfillment and your logistics. It's like the really unsexy thing that will make or break your business. You want to have a continued business here? Listen to what we're saying because it actually matters. And now that we're done BFCM and all that, shiny object kind of stuff, let's focus on where companies actually need to focus on.